Hi readers! So today we're going to be reading one of my favorite princesses, Cinderella, the Disney princess. And a storybook library, volume 1, of course. And if you don't know, these are the only friends she has, the mice and birds. This is the fairy godmother, and it's been a long time since I ever watched Cinderella. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there lived a rich widowed gentleman and his beautiful daughter, Cinderella. Cinderella's father was kind and loving. He married again so that his daughter had a mother to care for her. Cinderella's stepmother had two mean daughters named Anastasia and Drizzle. Ooh, those sound like mean names, don't they? Or is it your name, Anastasia and Drizzle? Or tell me your name in the comment below. And when Cinderella's father died, her stepmother stopped pretending to like her. She was jealous of Cinderella's charm and beauty, so she forced the young girl to become a servant in her own home. Cinderella was given a teeny room in the attic. There, her only friends, the mice and the birds, listened as she sang about her dreams of a life filled with happiness and love again. That's pretty sad. Not far away in the royal palace, the king and grand duke discussed. "The prince, it's time he married," said the king. Suddenly had a royal idea. "We'll have a ball and invite every young maiden in the kingdom. The prince will surely fall in love with one of them." The invitations went out that very day. This is the king, and this is the duke. And this is a prince portrait, so you know how the prince looks like. But he looks way more charming. When the royal messenger delivered the invitation to Cinderella's house, Cinderella went to find her stepmother. "There is going to be a ball at the palace," her stepmother exclaimed, reading the invitation. "Every young maiden is to attend." "Why, that means I can go too," said Cinderella hopefully. Anastasia and Drizzle shrieked with laughter at the idea. "Well," said Cinderella, "why not?" Her stepmother thought for a moment. "I see no reason why you can't go," she said slyly. "If you get all your work done." "I'm sure I can," cried Cinderella, rushing upstairs to find something to wear. Cinderella opened her wardrobe and took out one of her mother's old gowns. "It's a little old-fashioned, but I'll fix that," she said. "Cinderella!" shrieked her stepmother. "Coming!" called Cinderella. Jack and Gus and the other mice knew that poor Cinderella would never have time to finish her dress. So, with the help of the birds, they decided to work on it themselves. They used an old sash and beads that Anastasia and Drizzle had thrown away from the trim. Later that evening, Cinderella sadly returned to her room. She had so many chores to finish. There was no time to fix her dress. She looked out the window and saw the coach arriving that would be taking her stepmother and stepsisters to the ball. As Cinderella turned around, she suddenly saw the dress. Surprise! Her friends cried. "Surprise!" her friend cried. "Oh, it's wonderful!" Cinderella exclaimed. In no time at all, she slipped the dress on and was running downstairs to the carriage. But when Aunt Tessie and Drizzle saw Cinderella looking so beautifully, and they were filled with jealousy. "Why, you little thief!" Cinderella cried, seeing her old beads. Then Aunt Tessie had noticed her sash. "That's mine!" she yelled, grabbing the sash and ripping Cinderella's dress. Look, her mother is really happy. Stepmother, I mean. Cinderella was so upset. She ran outside to the garden and collapsed in tears. She did not notice the magically lights swirling around her. When she looked up, there was an old woman sitting on the bench. "I'm your fairy godmother," the lady said kindly. "Dry your tears. You can't go to that ball looking like that. Now fetch me a pumpkin and hurry. Even miracles take time." What does she mean, you guys? Minutes later, the fairy godmother waved her magic wand over the pumpkin with some magical words. The pumpkin changed into a sparkling carriage. "Now," the fairy godmother began, "with an elegant carriage like that, you will simply have to have mice." With that, she waved her wand over to Gus and Jack and their friends and changed them into proud white horses. By the time she was through the farmyard animals, there was a coachman and a footman too. Wow. Then, with a final wave of her wand, Cinderella was dressed in a beautiful ball gown and lovely glass slippers. "Oh, thank you!" cried Cinderella cried, stepping into the carriage. "It's like a dream come true." "I know, dear," the fairy godmother replied, "but remember, you only have until midnight. The last stroke of 12, the spell will be broken and everything will return to the way it was before." At the palace, Cinderella entered the glittering ballroom. Glancing up, the prince saw her and fell in love at first sight. He took Cinderella's hand and led her to the dance floor. Dancing in the prince's arms, Cinderella felt as if she was floating on the air. Suddenly she heard the clock chime. That's the chime she heard when it went off. "I must go," Cinderella cried as she fled down the palace steps. "Wait!" called the prince, but Cinderella did not stop, not even when she lost one of her glass slippers on the steps. She stepped into the carriage and raced home. As the last stroke of midnight was heard, the carriage turned back into a pumpkin and Cinderella was wearing rags once more, but she still held one glass slipper in her hand. Back at the palace, the prince declared that he would only marry the girl whose foot fit the glass slipper he had found. The next day, the Grand Duke began his search. Every maiden in the land would have to try on the glass slipper until the prince's true love was found. Meanwhile, Cinderella's stepmother had become spacious when she heard her stepdaughter humming the music from the ball. She was determined that Cinderella would not try on the glass slipper. When Cinderella went upstairs to her room, her stepmother followed her and locked the door. At last, the Grand Duke arrived at Cinderella's house, and Tassie and Drizzle tried to squeeze their foot into the delicate slipper, but it was no use. Jack and Gus wanted to help their friend. They stole the attic key from the stepmother's pocket and pushed it all the way up to Cinderella's room. Just as the Grand Duke was about to leave, Cinderella appeared. "Please wait," she called. "May I try on the slipper?" The Grand Duke led Cinderella to the chair and called the footman over. As the footman stepped forward, the wicked stepmother tripped him. The glass slipper flew through the air, fell and shattered into a thousand tiny pieces. Cinderella smiled and put on the other glass slipper from her pocket. "Perhaps this would help," she offered. Her stepsister shrieked as the delighted Duke saw that the slipper was a perfect fit. Soon afterwards, Cinderella and the prince were married at last. Cinderella's dream had finally come true. The end. And that was the story Cinderella. I hope you liked it, readers. And, well, go check out my YouTube channel. There are way more Disney books. And, yeah, I hope you love all of them, including this one. And if you do, please subscribe. Bye.